Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. I want to focus in and zoom in this video on how to handle psychopathic abuse when this individual is in your family or workplace, your proximity, where you live, where you work, and they're a toxic influence. You've exposed them for the psychopath that they are. Perhaps you're being gaslighted, brainwashed, you're really addicted to them. And I've gone into a lot of videos here on the channel on the psychopathic abuse, traits, manipulation, so please do reference those. But I really do feel a need to provide some real hands-on tools to how to really deal with a psychopath. And realize that this psychopath takes great pleasure and delight in overwhelming and physically maiming, emotionally maiming, psychologically maiming their prey. Realize that this is an interspecies predator. An interspecies predator is defined essentially as one who is against their very own. We've got some ducks there, geese, and so, for example, if we think about animals of prey, the lion. If we think about birds of prey, the eagle. They are the prey, the predator, and they are seeking the prey. So the psychopath is very much the same way in that they're an interspecies predator, which means they're looking for others to conquer, maim, and destroy. So if they can maim you, if they can get you to the point where you're gaslighted, brainwashed, you're wreathing with fear, you're wreathing with anxiety, they have you acting out of character, they have you dissociated, they have you really distracted, they have you really to the point where you're beyond your senses, you're experiencing a sense of depersonalization, out of touch with your reality. You're not really acting by your own values, your own morals anymore. They have you hypersexualized. They have you to the point where you can't think clearly, fragmented thoughts, feeling uncomfortable and even in your own space, and you're not able to really get a sense of groundedness anymore. Realize that this is where they want you. And if you have to continue to be working with a psychopath or individual such as this, please do realize that you need some tools and tactics. Number one is that of indifference. The psychopath will constantly test the waters and gauge you, your emotional strength. They will really suss you out. They're experts at determining where people are at under their control psychologically. Beyond the ability of most individuals, the psychopath is able to suss you out, size you up, and determine how much of you they have control over and where you're at in the process. So you by absolutely no means do you discuss relationship matters with the psychopath. You expose them for what they are through awareness. Perhaps you've seen their mask come down for the person that you are. Everybody has their kind of rock bottom and breakthrough moment. And when they see the evil that is lurking underneath the mask. In other words, the psychopath, because of their physiology, their brain scan, they have a deficit of empathy, they have a deficit of consciousness, they have a deficit of emotional connection to words, they have a deficit of emotional congruency with people. And so they will mimic people in order to have their bodies sort of feel what others feel. In other words, oftentimes in the hypersexualization phase, a lot of people tell me that that they almost mimic them. In other words, they're just, trying to mimic their connection, and because it's not felt. In fact, the psychopath is asexual. The psychopath, a number of in my psychological background in psychology, in my studies, and working with people, the psychopath has advised that they are asexual, 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 meaning not really sexual, but they use sexual conquest as a way to kind of connect and conquer and control others. So the hypersexualization, oftentimes they do this by violating people's boundaries and becoming use this as a way to control them, not because they're interested in having a relationship. They use this as a tactic to control. So it's nothing really more than that, and so people really need to acknowledge and understand that this is how the psychopath operates. So the tools to really handle, if you are in proximity with them, is to first, by awareness, realize that they are seeking to incite reactions out of you. So number one is becoming on a completely indifferent and neutral ground when around them. So when I say indifferent, when I say in a neutral, I'm meaning not expressing, having an emotional reaction to them. Hi, good to see you. Oh, you look great today. You look gorgeous. You know, what's new with the meeting? You don't engage them in that sort of emotional connection, because they are violators, they are perpetrators, they are interspecies predators. So they are seeking to conquer, maim, and destroy. Just like the lion is seeking to kill, maim, kill, and devour the gazelle, just like the eagle is looking to, you know, devour, maim, and kill that mouse or that rodent, the psychopath works in much the same manner. And if they can keep you in that maim state, you're still essentially a target of play for them. So if they can keep you in play while you're suffering and wreathing and uncomfortable and doing things out of character, and they see that you're, you know, distracted, distraught, not able to focus, they've got you where they want you. So you need to really, I mean, I'm just going to say snap out of it. And although that's not going to come with time, you need to realize how serious it is and the fact that they are this type of person, and acknowledge them and realize that there's this entity outside of you, and that you are connected to a much more human and grounded energy. So they don't operate in the same place that you do, so you need to reclaim that, number one. And you also need to approach them with indifference, which means indifference. I don't care one way or the other. It is just, you know, matter of fact with them, very objective, very business oriented if you're involved with them in business. And neutral, meaning I don't have feelings of congratulations or, you know, acknowledgement of them. In fact, they're very socially inept in very specific and isolated areas. So allow that separation to occur, and realize that your energy does not match their energy. So there's a real disconnect once you've exposed the psychopath. So if you are, you know, reacting to them, and your body is moving out of joint with them, so in other words, don't try to match their body language whatsoever. Don't be on the, you know, take a very conscious effort to separate physically. If they're, you know, sitting a specific way, move your body, you know, contrary to theirs, so that you, your plane and your heart is not there. You know, you can kind of go like this and put an arm up, shielding yourself. It's very important to do that, and then not looking in their direction, and you do not make eye contact with them. If you have to speak with them, look at them above the eyebrow, at the ear, over the shoulder, but do not make eye contact with them. You need to almost have a glazed over look at them, and, you know, realize that they might be there physically, but they're extremely destructive, they're extremely lethal, and you need to really separate any sort of and declare your energetic bounds as completely separate from them. And so and I have a number of videos on this. So there's the body language, which, you know, you can make it very subtle, but, you know, turning away from them, even if it feels uncomfortable or unnatural. I mean, that is very important, because you need to reset your own energetic boundaries with regards to this person. Have as little contact with them as possible. Being addicted to them is a very serious situation, and a lot of people go through a lot of almost like a state of shock when they're going through withdrawal, and they actually experience what is known as post-traumatic stress syndrome, because of the trauma is so insidious and so close, and the violation is so severe that it can be as severe as a state of shock. And by that I mean, you know, a lot of, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? like Army, Navy, you know, people who work for the military, who have gone to, you know, who've gone to battle, who have gone to war, and have been in a highly traumatic situations, bombing, killing, things of this nature. They experience post-traumatic stress syndrome, where they have an incapacity to function, they have severe depression, they have extreme fear, anxiety, they're not able to leave their home, they have a sense of unreality, and this is like their body is just coming out of the state of shock from being so close up front line to a traumatic and horrific situation such as war. So realize that the psychopathic effect and kind of coming out and emerging from the relationship can be as severe. So it is something that you have to have the tools to really deal with them. And the first is acknowledgement. The second is changing the emotional tone of your language with them, using very indifferent and neutral and matter-of-fact language that is very objective in nature and is centered within the I am. So the I am, I'm not suggesting you use the I am with them, but what I'm suggesting is you use very factual, very objective language with them, and only as necessary. So no fluff, no fanning of them, no you know, giving into their seduction, no giving into their ploys to get you back, because they will, and they will continue to test you, and you need to resist. This is developing the mental stamina and mental strength and self-empowerment that is needed to handle interactions with a psychopath successfully. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.